Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay. And Palmolive Shave Creams for a smoother, more comfortable way to shave bring you Our Miss Brooks, transcribed and starring Eve Arden. It's time once again for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks, under the direction of Al Lewis. Well, many people enjoy the brisk, snappy weather of the winter season. But our Miss Brooks, who teaches English at Madison High School, is definitely anti-cold. In fact, at the last count, she was sleeping beneath 11 woolen blankets.
I kept warm enough that way, but it posed quite a problem for my landlady. Yesterday, when she came in to wake me up, she couldn't find me. We solved that, though. Now when I go to bed, I slip a bookmark under the bottom blanket. Last Friday at breakfast, I was complaining to Mrs. Davis about the temperature in the house.
Now take this, dear. A nice steaming cup of coffee will warm you up in no time.
Is it really hot?
Piping hot. Here's your cup.
Never mind the cup. Just pour it over me. Look, Mrs. Davis, the days aren't so bad, but last night at 11:30, my room was absolutely freezing. You could hang meat in there.
Connie, wouldn't that mess up the wallpaper? Besides, 11:30 seems awfully late for you to be up, Connie. You'd be a lot warmer if you got to bed earlier.
I would have, but I had to finish some extra typing for Mr. Conklin. Our beloved principal has never been able to keep a secretary, you know.
I know. I think it's a shame the way he takes advantage of you. This isn't school business he gives you, is it?
No, mostly personal correspondence, reports and things.
And what does Mr. Conklin give you for this work?
An occasional curt nod.
Well, if I were you, I'd refuse to do any more for him. In fact, when you bring him this batch today, you ought to put your foot down.
I tried putting my foot down before, Mrs. Davis, but it just didn't work.
Why? What did Mr. Conklin do?
He stepped on it.
Come in.
Good morning, Mr. Conklin. I brought in those papers you had me type last night.
Just put them on my desk, please.
What did you say?
Perhaps you'd hear better if you'd remove those ridiculous earmuffs.
What? Oh, these earmuffs. They must have slipped down again. It's terribly chilly in school this morning, Mr. Conklin.
Nonsense. It's just pleasantly brisk. Now, about these papers, Why, Miss Brooks, you're familiar with the rules of this institution. Why are you smoking in school?
I'm not smoking. That's my breath.
Your breath?
Yes, condensing in the pleasantly brisk air. Mr. Conklin, are you sure there's enough coal in the furnace this morning?
Well, of course. The janitor has been authorized to burn 37 lumps before noon.
But, sir, this is going to be an exceptionally cold day, and 37 lumps of coal just won't get the job done.
Perhaps you're right. I'll contact the furnace room. Hand me the phone, please.
Here you are, sir.
Sure. Osgood Conklin to maintenance. Osgood Conklin to maintenance. Fire lumps 38 and 39. Fire lumps 38 and 39. That is all. That should do it. Now, let's see those papers.
Here they are, Mr. Conklin. I stayed up until 11:30 last night, so I'd have them finished for you.
Well, I'm not unmindful of your labors in my behalf, and I want you to know that your efforts will not go unrewarded. In fact, because of your fine spirit of cooperation, I have selected you as the one who will be permitted to type up my new report to the Board of Education.
I'm sorry, Mr. Conklin, but teaching English is a full-time job for me, and I just can't assume any extra duties.
But somebody's got to do it. Miss Enright just turned me down, too. As a matter of fact, she's the one who suggested you for this honor.
Oh, she did she? Well, let me tell you...
You shouldn't speak harshly of your fellow English teacher, Miss Brooks. After all, Miss Enright is quite fond of you.
Fond of me?
Oh, she must be to pass such a nice compliment about you this morning. She said she considered you one of her oldest friends.
She did?
And then she said she likes you as well as some of her younger friends. Well, I can't force you to perform this trifling task for me, so you might as well run along to your classroom.
Yes, sir, but as far as Miss Enright is concerned, I would like
Careful, Miss Brooks. You're speaking of a teacher who may soon be head of the English department.
What?
The position is still open, you know, and for months now I've been grooming Miss Enright.
Good. That should make her coat nice and shiny.
Miss Brooks, are you inferring that Miss Enright is a horse?
If the shoe fits, nail it on her. Pardon me, Mr. Boynton, but I've got a free period right now, and as I recall, so have you.
Oh, that's right, Miss Brooks. Is there anything I can do for you?
I'd love to. That is, the real reason I dropped in here was to get away from my own classroom for a while. Sometimes I wonder if all this effort is worth anything. If I couldn't expend all this time and energy in another direction. Say, making a pleasant home for some man, the way any normal woman does.
Well, you're certainly normal, Miss Brooks. Your muscular structure's good. You have a well-shaped skull. Good sound bones. And judging from your complexion, I should say your systolic circulatory system is A1.
You romantic fool, you. I wish I felt as well as your description, though. I've got a little headache from all the paperwork I've been doing.
A headache? Would you like me to massage your temples a bit?
That's the quickest you've ever caught on. Please do, Mr. Boynton.
All right. How does this feel?
Just wonderful, Mr. Boynton.
Yoo-hoo, anybody in here?
Nobody but us guinea pigs.
Well, it's Miss Enright. Miss Brooks has a little headache. I'm just massaging her temples.
Oh, how humane of you.
Oh, there you go with your jokes, Miss Enright. You're just loads of fun. Don't you think so, Miss Brooks?
She's the biggest load I've ever seen.
Well, Miss Brooks, I didn't expect to find you here. I just dropped in because I'm worn out from my morning classes. Sometimes I just don't know where I get the fuel to keep running.
If you didn't race your engine so much, your tank wouldn't get so low.
That's a good one, too. You girls have a lot of fun with each other, don't you?
Yes, we do enjoy our little fencing matches. When we're not too tuckered out from our work, that is. Oh, that English class of mine.
Well, I must say, I don't know what's come over you women of today. You just don't seem to have the vitality and drive of our forebears. Now, take my Aunt Mattie, for example. She taught English, but she also taught mathematics, history, science, and Latin.
5 subjects?
Certainly. And then she'd go home and keep house for her husband and 9 children.
9 children? What did she teach, night school?
You can jest if you want to. But if I found a woman like my Aunt Mattie, a woman who held the secret to diversified interests, I'd marry her tomorrow.
If you'll excuse me now, I've got 1,000,000 papers to correct.
And I'd better be running along, too. I've got to empty several waste baskets.
But ladies,
Goodbye, Mr. Boynton.
See you later, nephew.
What is it you wanted to see me about, Miss Brooks?
It's my work here at school, Mr. Conklin. I was wondering if you could give me another subject or two to teach.
Miss Brooks, have you been sniffing too much eraser dust?
No, sir. It's just that I'd like to diversify my interests. Another class would be a labor of love.
Pardon me, Mr. Conklin.
Hello, Miss Enright.
Oh, Miss Brooks. What happened to those millions of papers you had to mark?
I threw them in those wastebaskets you had to empty.
I'm rather busy this morning, Miss Enright. What's on your mind?
Well, Mr. Conklin, I've been thinking about my schedule here, and I've come to the conclusion that I could take on another subject.
You too? But not 2 hours ago, you both complained about how rigorous your duties were.
That was BAM, Mr. Conklin, before Aunt Mattie. You might consider it strange, sir, but
On the contrary, and it's an extremely fortuitous coincidence. I was planning to institute a course in business administration at Madison. My big problem, however, has been instructors. There are none available in this area.
There are now. I mean, there is now. I'll take a shot at it. Yes, sir. You bet. Sure thing.
Not so fast, darling. Mr. Conklin, if you're interested in a business administration course, I'd like to point out that I've got a terrific background.
That you don't have to point out. Maybe you ought to sell your bicycle.
Please, Miss Brooks, please. Tell me about your experience, Miss Enright.
Well, before I came to Madison High as an English teacher, I assisted Papa in his business. Papa was the head of a big collection agency at the time.
I assisted my papa, too, Miss Enright.
What did he do?
He spent most of his time hiding from your papa. Please, Mr. Conklin, I'll admit I'm not overly familiar with the principles of business administration, but I'll study it thoroughly in the next few days.
Miss Brooks, business administration is a 3-year course. How do you propose to learn it in a few short days?
I'll only take a half hour for lunch.
I'm afraid you have none of the qualifications for this position, Miss Brooks. Once again, it looks like Miss Enright has the inside track.
Well, all I can say is don't bet too much on her nose. It might still be a photo finish.
Brush your teeth with Colgate's Colgate Dental Cream. It cleans your breath.
What a toothpaste.
While it cleans your teeth.
Colgate toothpaste.
Cleans your breath.
What a toothpaste.
While it cleans your teeth.
Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. And the Colgate way stops tooth decay best.
Yes, the Colgate way is the most thoroughly proved and accepted home method of oral hygiene known today. Over 2 years' research showed brushing teeth right after eating with Colgate Dental Cream helps stop more decay for more people than ever before reported in dentifrice history. The Colgate way stopped tooth decay best.
No other dentifrice, ammoniated or not, offers such conclusive proof. And you should know that Colgate's, while not mentioned by name, was the only toothpaste used in the research on tooth decay recently reported in Reader's Digest.
So always follow the Colgate way to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and stop tooth decay best.
Brush your teeth with Colgate's Colgate Dental Cream. It cleans your breath.
What a toothpaste.
While it cleans your teeth.
And the Colgate way stops tooth decay best.
Well, Mr. Conklin seemed convinced that I didn't know a thing about business administration, and it looked like he was right. I had just about given up on the biggest deal of my life, 200 pounds of prime biology teacher. When lunch period came, I must have looked pretty down in the mouth as I entered the school cafeteria.
Get it up, Miss Brooks. Your chin is sweeping the floor.
Oh, hello, Walter. I do feel a bit grim today.
Well, suppose you sit down over here and tell our favorite pupil all about it. And that is, unless you're waiting for Mr. Boynton.
No, he had to go down to the biology supply house. They're having a sale on used guinea pigs or something.
Oh, it shouldn't make you this depressed. Gosh, you look like you're just about to bawl. What's the cause of it?
Well, I spent about 10 minutes in Mr. Conklin's office this morning.
Say no more. Here's my hanky. Mr. Conklin's the best cure I know for anybody who's got a slight case of cheerfulness.
Not so loud, Walter. His daughter's about to join us.
Hello, Miss Brooks. Walter.
Hello, Harriet.
We were just chatting about your daddy.
Yeah, why isn't he in the cafeteria today?
I brought a sandwich to his office. He's calling the various oil companies to see if he can't beat the price raise. It seems fuel oil for our furnace at home has gone up 3 cents a gallon. Daddy has a big problem with oil every winter.
We have a big problem with Daddy every winter. You probably don't know anything about this, Harriet, but I've been hoping your father would appoint me as instructor in business administration.
He did mention something about the course, Miss Brooks, but he hasn't said who's going to teach it, so you might as well keep hoping. I'm going to get myself some dessert. Can I bring you something, Miss Brooks?
No, thanks, dear. I'm pretty full. I've been biting my lips all morning.
Buck up, Miss Brooks. Things could always be worse. See you later, Walter.
Okay, Pigeon. Now then, Miss Brooks, give me your undivided attention.
You've got it, Walter.
While you and Harriet were yakking it up, I was thinking, if Mr. Conklin could get the oil he wants for his furnace not only 3 cents cheaper, but 9 cents below the current price, and if this transaction was put over by you, he'd consider that you had a pretty good business head on your shoulders.
Well, I guess he would be.
Instead of thinking what he thinks now, that it's just a bunch of pretty auburn hair clinging to a vacant bulb.
Now, just a minute, Walter.
Please, I'm not finished. It so happens that my dad has a good pal in the Ajax Oil Company, and we get all our fuel wholesale. Now, there's no reason why I can't get some for you to give to Mr. Conklin, thus helping you wrap up the job you want.
Walter, I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize here and now for everything I've ever thought about you. This is a great idea.
Thank you. We'll get the oil to Mr. Conklin's home right after school. But there's one question I'd like to ask you, Miss Brooks. Why are you so anxious to take on the added duties of another course?
I can answer that in 2 simple words, Walter. Philip Boynton.
I'm glad you got home from school early today, Daddy. But why did we come down here to the basement?
I wanted to show you our new furnace, Harriet. It was installed just 10 minutes ago.
But what's this pink ribbon tied on it for? And what's this card on top of it?
It's a little surprise for your mother. Read the card, Harriet.
Let's see. It says, "To my loving wife, Martha. Happy Lincoln's birthday, darling, from your Osgood." You bought Mother a furnace for Lincoln's birthday?
Nothing's too good for your mother, Harriet. Besides, it's my way of making up for Christmas. I got the feeling that your mother was not too delighted with the gift she received from me at that time.
I can't understand it. It was a lovely case of club soda. Daddy, Mother was expecting a fur coat this winter.
Then she should be doubly pleased. A furnace is even warmer than a fur coat. Especially this brand new forced air furnace. It uses gas and a blower system, and all it requires is for me to flip open a vent, and presto, any room I'm in is full of hot air.
No comment, Daddy.
Quiet with that oil drum, Walter. I don't want Mr. Conklin to know we're in his basement.
Well, I still don't see why we didn't just roll the drum up to his front door.
Because I want to surprise him. We'll pour the oil right into the furnace. Then, when he can't understand how he's getting heat without having bought any oil, I'll flash this bill from the Ajax Company showing that I've beaten the current price by 9 cents.
I get it. And then when Mr. Conklin reacts according to plan, he'll put you in charge of the business administration course. Mr. Boynton will admire your energy and diversified talents. And before you know it, you'll be married and have 9 children like his Aunt Mattie.
Walter, have you been drinking this oil?
Miss Enright, your coming to my home on your own time to discuss our new business administration course has made quite an impression on me.
Thank you, Mr. Conklin. But I've always been a firm believer in the old adage, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today.
My sentiments exactly. Now, if you'll just give me your coat, we'll sit down in the living room and chat for a while.
Oh, I think I'll keep my coat on, Mr. Conklin. I feel a bit chilly.
Oh, as you wish. Mrs. Conklin is out shopping at the moment, but when she comes back, she'll fix a bit of tea for us. I can't wait to see her face when she discovers her gift.
Oh? What did you buy for Mrs. Conklin?
In honor of Lincoln's birthday, I bought her a brand new furnace. I haven't used it as yet, but I think I'll turn it on right now. Oh, Oh, excuse me, Miss Enright. I'll see who's at the door. Oh, it's you, Miss Brooks.
Yes, sir. I came by to discuss that new teaching job.
But I've just about decided on Miss Enright for that position, Miss Brooks.
Please, sir, what I have to tell you may change that decision. I'll just take a few moments of your time.
Very well, then. Come in. Now, please be brief, Miss Brooks. Miss Enright and I have many matters to discuss.
Yes, sir. Oh, hello, Miss Enright.
Hello, Miss Brooks. Did you come by to show me what a good loser you are?
I'll deal with you when you slither into school tomorrow. Right now, I've got some business with Mr. Conklin. You see, sir, I've always been a firm believer in the old adage, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today.
A salty cliche, if I ever heard one. Please come to the point.
Yes, sir. Mr. Conklin, what would you say if I told you that I was going to put $8.95 into your pocket this minute?
I'd say sit down, Miss Brooks.
Mr. Conklin, I'm going to put $8.95 into your pocket this minute.
Sit down, Miss Brooks.
Thank you. Now, in this transaction...
Pardon me, but isn't it awfully chilly in here?
For once, we're on the same side. It might be a very jolly thought to turn on your furnace, Mr. Conklin, and burn some nice, cheap oil.
I don't have any oil in my furnace. However, if you ladies are cold, I should be happy to...
Excuse me, Daddy, but I've got to talk to Miss Brooks privately right away. Will you kindly step out into the hall with me, Miss Brooks?
Harriet, you know my house rules about disturbing adult conversations?
It's terribly personal, Daddy, and it'll just take a second.
Sounds important, Harriet. I'll be right back, Mr. Conklin. Meanwhile, I'm sure Miss Enright can regale you with some brilliant yakety-yak.
It's happened, Miss Brooks. Daddy's done the worst possible thing that could happen.
He signed on for another year at Madison High?
No, he bought Mother a furnace for a Lincoln's birthday gift.
He must have gotten his rebate on the club soda bottles.
You don't understand. I just saw Walter Denton in the basement. He was washing his hands in the sink down there.
Sounds like a reasonable place.
He told me you put oil in the furnace.
That's right, to surprise your father.
You'll surprise him, all right. He bought a gas-operated forced air furnace.
What? Oh, this is terrible. We've got to work fast, Harriet. You run down to the basement and tell Walter to get some tubing and siphon that oil out of the furnace at once.
Okay, Miss Brooks. And you go on in and keep Daddy's mind occupied so he doesn't turn it on until I come back with the all clear.
All right, Harriet. Now, for heaven's sakes, hurry.
I'm dashing this minute. Good luck, Miss Brooks.
I'll need it.
Well, Miss Brooks, has my daughter concluded her personal business with you?
Yes, sir. It was nothing, really.
Now then, about this business transaction of yours.
Boy, it's sure hot in here.
Hot?
I'm terribly warm.
Do your lips always turn blue when you're warm? I'm still shivering, Mr. Conklin.
Well, I've got high blood pressure, so I'm usually warmer than the average person, but I'll turn the heat up if you want me to, Miss Enright.
No! I mean, why turn on the heat? Too much heat isn't healthy.
Bless you, darling.
I must have sat in a hot draft. Now, about the $8.95 I saved you, Mr. Conklin.
Oh, excuse me one moment. I'm going to see if my new thermostat is accurate. I want everything to be just right when Mrs. Conklin comes home. First, I'll open the large vent in this wall. Now we'll just set this thermostat for 76 degrees. That should get the furnace going rather quickly.
Ooh, it can't warm up quickly enough for me.
It can for me. Excuse me, Mr. Conklin.
Where are you going, Miss Brooks?
Into the coat closet. I have a roll of film that needs developing.
Oh, stop that idiotic jabber and let's get down to cases now.
Perhaps we should set the thermostat up to 80 or so. Then the furnace will really get going. Here, I'll do it.
But, Miss Enright,
It's all right, Miss Brooks. I want to see how the new furnace reacts. Here, I'll turn it up to 85 degrees. Yeah. Now it's starting. Listen to the lovely sound of that nice hot air scurrying up the pipe.
It's oil! Black, dirty oil all over my furniture and rugs. Here, I'll turn it off. Oh. Oh, my suit.
Oh, my dress.
Oh, my neck.
What happened to my brand new furnace? This entire room is full of oil. What'll we do?
Well, we could toss a giant salad. But I guess the only practical suggestion is to clean it up.
Something must have gone wrong when I... Holy cow! What are you people doing in here? Rehearsing for a minstrel show?
You guessed it, Walter. And I don't know about anybody else, but if the interlocutor will excuse me, I, for one, am going to pick up my tambourine and beat it.
Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks returns in just a moment. But first,
Men, does your face do a slow burn every time you shave? Then it's time you heard the good news about smoother, more comfortable shaves the Palmolive shaving cream way. That's right, smoother, more comfortable shaves.
and men, only Palmolive, no other shaving cream, offers you real proof, not just promises, of smoother, more comfortable shaves. For the new Palmolive shaving cream way gets beards really soft, and it provides a protective film that actually floats your razor's cutting edge. Yes, even in cold or hard water, you get a clean, close shave every time. Super smooth, super comfortable.
Over 2,500 men tested Palmolive shaving creams thoroughly. They followed the simple directions on the tube, and no matter how they shaved before, 3 out of 4 reported beards easier to cut, less razor pull, more comfortable, actually smoother shaves.
Get Palmolive shaving cream, lather or brushless. See if you don't get that super smooth, super comfortable, free and easy shave you've always wanted.
You owe it to your face to try Palmolive lather or brushless. Remember, only Palmolive, no other shaving cream, offers you proof of smoother, more comfortable shaves.
And now, once again, here is our Miss Brooks.
Well, Walter Denton was just about to spill the beans to Mr. Conklin about my part in the great oil scandal when luckily I managed to catch his eye. And through some magical current that seemed to flow between us, his lips were suddenly sealed. Then I took my knuckles out of his mouth and we cleaned up the lips. After that, Walter took me home, and when we got to the door, he said,
Gosh, Miss Brooks, do you think you may still get a crack at that business administration course?
I don't know about the business administration, Walter, but if he finds out about today, it's a cinch we'll both get the business.
This is Vern Smith reminding you to tune in next week to another Our Miss Brooks show, brought to you by Palmolive Shave Creams for a smoother, more comfortable way to shave, and Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, is produced by Larry Burns, written by Al Lewis, with the music of Wilbur Hatch.
Ladies, now with new improved Vel VEL, you can save 90% of dishwashing work.
Just soak dishes in Vel suds a while. Dishes and glassware will soak sparkling clean. No washing, no wiping, no scouring with Vel. Only the stickiest dishes need just the touch of a cloth. Rinse, and they'll gleam without wiping.
Soak pots and pans in Vel suds, too. And most of them will get shiny clean without scouring.
What's more, Vel is extra mild to hands. So get new Vel. Save 90% of dishwashing work.
Be sure to listen to Mr. and Mrs. North every Tuesday night on this same station, and be with us again next week at this same time for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks. Bob Lamont speaking. This program was transcribed. Stay tuned now for Jack Benny.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay, and Palmolive Shave Creams for a smoother, more comfortable way to shave, bring you Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden.
time once again for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks, under the direction of Al Lewis. Well, in many of these United States, winter seems to have settled down for a protracted stay. Our Miss Brooks, who teaches English at Madison High School, doesn't seem to mind.
No, indeed. I do enjoy the winter season. There are so many activities to engage in. Ice skating, sleigh riding, building snowmen. Of course, the last snowman I built melted after one dance, but while we're on the... While we're on the subject of snowmen, I was speaking to my landlady just last Friday morning about one Philip Boynton. It seems the bashful biologist had come out of his turtleneck sweater long enough to invite me to Madison's annual matinee snowball dance.
That's wonderful, Connie. And I just know you'll be the belle of the ball this afternoon. That outfit is so colorful and wintry looking, especially those lovely blue socks.
I haven't put on my socks yet. Maybe we ought to turn the heat up, Mrs. Davis.
Of course, dear. But I'm crazy about that sweater. And the earrings are divine, even though they are a bit large.
These are not earrings, Mrs. Davis. They happen to be ear muffs. I'm just wearing them a little lower than usual. You see, I have what is known in medical circles as cold lobes.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's nothing to worry about. I just don't want my blue feet to get jealous. I'll put my socks and shoes on right now. I brought them in with me.
Yes, you better get ready, Connie. Walter Denton will be here to pick you up any minute. But while we're waiting, you still haven't told me how you got Mr. Boynton to ask you to the dance.
It wasn't easy, Mrs. Davis. I started my campaign weeks ago. First of all, I played hard to get for 2 days.
And then?
And then I played Available Jones for 3. After that, I changed my lipstick 4 times and used 6 different brands of perfume in as many days.
And then?
Then I bought 2 tickets to the dance and invited him. But it should be fun. Oh, that's Walter now. Coming, Walter. See you tonight, Mrs. Davis. Good morning, Walter.
Greetings, good fairy of wintertime. Oh, your warmth and beauty bring cheery comfort to this frigid, icicle-ridden chariot.
Careful, Walter. You're fogging up the windshield.
Your outfit's a knockout, Miss Brooks. Something new's been added, hasn't it?
What do you mean?
Those large woolen earrings.
These are earmuffs. Cold lobes. Open your door.
Yes, ma'am. I think it only fair to call it to your attention, Miss Brooks, but you may not be so comfortable on your way to school today. You see,
Ouch!
Brought my skis with me.
If you hadn't called it to my attention, I never would have noticed them.
Anything broken?
No. Fortunately, this woolen skirt doesn't splinter easily.
Well, let's get going.
Why don't you put these skis in the back of the car, Walter?
Oh, it's not big enough.
Oh.
Just hold them on your lap, Miss Brooks.
That's not big enough either. Here, I'll stand them up on the floor between us. Oh, no, that won't work. You've got the top on today.
Oh, just stick them through the hole in the top.
What hole?
Grab the wheel a minute. I'll show you. That hole right there.
Perfect fit. But what is this metal contraption in the center of the skis, Walter?
Oh, that is my own invention, Miss Brooks. I call it the Denton Claw. It's guaranteed to keep your skis on no matter what.
Really?
Yes, not only that, but it's designed to keep your skis in perfect position regardless of what you're doing with your feet.
Suppose you're crushing grapes.
It's no laughing matter, Miss Brooks. Oh, this is a great contraption. I'm going to try it out this afternoon on the big hill back of school.
But aren't you going to the snowball dance in the gym today?
Oh, sure. Yeah, but a bunch of us kids are going to go skiing for an hour before the dance. Say, maybe you'd like to come along, Miss Brooks.
Not me, Walter. I've never been on a pair of skis, and I'm perfectly contented to keep it that way.
You don't know what you're missing, Miss Brooks. There's nothing like sailing down those snowy slopes and taking a crack at some Christies and stems.
There'll be no Christies on my stems.
wonderful sport, and the exercise is great for you. Ah, you ought to see those kids after a half hour on that ski run. Their eyes are glowing and their faces are red and tingling.
And that's not all. Their noses are red, too. Yep, that's all I'd need. Why, with my blue earlobes and a red nose, I'd look like somebody stuck a flag in the snow. Good morning, Mr. Boynton. All set for the dance this afternoon?
Oh, yes, indeed, Miss Brooks. I see you're all ready for it, too. It's a very interesting outfit you're wearing. I'm especially fond of that winter gypsy motif.
Winter gypsy motif?
Yes, those large woolen earrings.
Earmuffs, cold lobes. We've got a few minutes before class, Mr. Boynton. Do you mind if I sit down for a little chat?
Oh, not at all, but be careful where you sit. I brought...
Ouch!
My skis to school today.
Thanks, Mr. Boynton. That's a very good tip. The second one I received today. Here, stand them in a corner.
All right. You see, there's going to be a little time before the dance begins, so I thought I'd go over to the big hill behind school this afternoon and do a little skiing.
A little what?
Skiing. Oh, there are other pronunciations, I suppose, but in England and Norway, skiing is considered most acceptable.
Under the proper conditions, you can't knock it anywhere.
By the way, Miss Brooks, are you interested in the sport?
Oh, quite a bit, Mr. Boynton. Except that I've always called it heeing. I've always called it skiing.
Well, skiing or skiing, I'm going out on the hill after school. Would you like to come along with me?
Certainly. If there's one thing I'm just crazy to do, it's to sail down that snowy expanse and try out my Christies and Stemmies. Of course, I haven't had much of an opportunity to ski since coming to Madison, but I know it'll all come back to me in a flash. Oh, I see you've got the poles that help you keep your balance. Just what do you call those poles, Mr. Boynton?
Just poles.
And what about those metal discs near the bottom? What are they called?
They're just called metal discs.
I've got this thing down pat, haven't I? Well, if you'll excuse me now, I'm going to dig up a pair of skis for this afternoon. I don't have a pair of my own.
Well, I don't have any extra ones. Do you think you can borrow some, Miss Brooks?
Don't worry, Mr. Boynton. I'll be out on that hill with you this afternoon if I have to get a long splinter in each foot. So you see, Walter, that's why I asked you to stay after class. You've just got to lend me those skis today.
Yeah, but, Miss Brooks, I spent my whole study period polishing them up. I haven't even tried these out myself yet.
But, Walter...
I was looking for you, Walter. Now... Oh, hi, Miss Brooks.
Hello, Harriet.
Hi, Harriet.
Well, what's wrong? You two having a beef?
Not a whole beef, Harriet, just a small fillet. I'm trying to convince him to lend me his skis just for this afternoon. Mr. Boynton's going to give me a refresher course.
Refresher course? But you said you never skied in your life.
That should make it all the more refreshing.
Of course Walter will lend them to you, Miss Brooks.
But, Harriet, we were going out to the hill and...
The hill won't disappear, Walter, and neither will the snow. We'll get to the dance earlier this way.
Yeah, but...
Walter, dear, which is more romantic? Racing up and down a hill on a pair of sticks, or holding me close in your arms doing the mambo-jumbo?
The skis are yours, Miss Brooks.
Good. Now show me how to put these things on so I'll look like I practically know what I'm doing this afternoon.
Okay, Miss Brooks. With the new Denton claw, it's relatively simple. Just slip your feet through these metal toe plates. That's right. Now we just snap this cable around your heel.
Is this your new invention, Walter?
This is it, Harriet. Now the other cable. There. How do they feel?
Real cozy. I'll just take a few steps and see if I can remain standing. They feel all right to me. Now help me get them off, Walter. I've got another class in a few minutes.
Oh, here. Sit down, Miss Brooks.
Thanks, Harriet.
Now, we just grab the binding here, hold the cable thusly, and give it a gentle tug, and presto. That's funny. I'll try it again. Take hold of the binding here, give the cable a yank here, and presto. Once again, presto.
Doing so well. You better try abracadabra.
These cables seem to be stuck.
Let's see. Oh, now I remember. Oh, when I had the whole thing worked out and assembled, I remembered leaving myself a notation about one detail that had to be perfected.
What's that?
A way to get them off.
You mean you can't get them off Miss Brooks' feet?
Now, calm down, everybody. Don't get panicky. We'll get them off by and by.
By and by?
Look, Walter, while we're waiting for by and by to get here, there's something you've just got to do so I won't appear ridiculous in this classroom.
What's that, Miss Brooks?
Cut a hole in the roof and let some snow in.
Brush your teeth with Colgate. Colgate Dental Cream. It cleans your breath.
Water toothpaste.
While it cleans your teeth.
Colgate toothpaste.
Cleans your breath.
Water toothpaste.
While it cleans your teeth.
Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. And the Colgate way stops tooth decay best.
Yes, the Colgate way is the most thoroughly proved and accepted home method of oral hygiene known today. Over 2 years' research showed brushing teeth right after eating with Colgate Dental Cream helped stop more decay for more people than ever before reported in dentifrice history. The Colgate way stopped tooth decay best.
No other dentifrice, ammoniated or not, offers such conclusive proof. And you should know that Colgate's, while not mentioned by name, was the only toothpaste used in the research on tooth decay recently reported in Reader's Digest.
So always follow the Colgate way to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and stop tooth decay best.
Brush your teeth with Colgate. Colgate Dental Cream. It cleans your breath.
Water toothpaste.
While it cleans your teeth.
And the Colgate way stops tooth decay best.
Well, the American teacher has been called upon to face many a crisis, and I refused to let the fact that my ankles were locked to a pair of skis by the Denton claw faze me one bit. When it came time for me to conduct my class, I merely smiled, rose from my desk, and with my customary dignity and poise, stepped lightly to the blackboard. Quiet, class. Attention, all of you. What's the matter with you kids, anyhow? Don't you think it's cold enough in this room for skis? Now, look at the blackboard, please. In order to find the adjunct phrase in the sentence on the board, I shall break it down into its component parts. Now, where's that chalk? Oh, I have some on my desk. One moment, class. Here it is.
Miss Brooks, I gotta talk to you for a minute. I've got good news.
Kindly pick up your books, class. Yes, Harriet?
What do you want us to do with our books, Miss Brooks?
I want you to put your noses in them. Also your mouths.
I couldn't leave you here marooned in this predicament, Miss Brooks, so guess what I brought for you?
A St. Bernard with a keg of arsenic?
No, I borrowed a hacksaw from a machine shop. I'll get those skis off you in no time.
Now?
Sure. While the class is busy reading, I'll just slide under your desk, leap at your imprisoned puppies, and hack away.
Well, it's as good a time as any, I guess. But be careful with that saw, Walter. Remember, my ankle bone is connected to the shin bone.
Here I go, Miss Brooks. I've got to get these leather thongs first. They're even tougher than the wire cable. I'll work as fast as I can, though. I'd hate for Mr. Conklin to catch it with these slacks on.
Oh, that's a charming thought. Especially when I recall what a bug our beloved principal is on the personal appearance of the faculty. All that has to happen now...
At ease, class.
Has happened. Mr. Conklin.
Don't bother to get up, Miss Brooks.
Don't worry. I mean, this is quite a surprise, sir. I didn't expect you in my room this morning. Ouch!
Does my visit pain you so severely, Miss Brooks?
Oh, no, sir. On the contrary. Every time I see your smiling face, I... Ouch! Forgive me, Mr. Conklin. A bit of a headache.
You certainly are. But, Miss Brooks, if I may...
Of course you may, Mr. Conklin. You may return to this classroom any time you wish. Well, goodbye. It's been nice to have seen... Oops!
Oh, you dropped your chalk under your desk, Miss Brooks. Let me get it for you.
No, thank you. I've already got it, see?
Amazing. It fell to the floor, and you got it without even bending over.
My foot handed it to me. My hand footed it to... I've got it, see?
I don't know what's wrong with you this morning, Miss Brooks, but I came in to address your class, and with your permission, I'll do so.
Permission granted, sir. Very granted. Go right ahead, Mr. Conklin.
Thank you. And now then, most of you are aware of the fact that by dint of much argument and persuasion, I recently prevailed upon the Board of Education to appropriate $1,000 for the purpose of resanding and completely refinishing the floors throughout this building and in our gymnasium. This work has been done and done well. Yet only moments ago in the hallway, in flagrant violation of my posted notice to preserve the school floors, I discovered the soggy prints of a pair of skis. Something in your throat, Miss Brooks?
Just my heart. Please continue, Mr. Conklin.
Well, I don't like to have to resort to these methods, but I must ask all you students to swing your feet into the aisles, and I will pass among you to inspect them. I'll take this row first, right over here.
Now, quiet, class. Whatever you do, don't talk.
This file isn't very sharp, Miss Brooks.
Then for heaven's sake, start biting, Walter.
I'll do my best. I'm not down here playing this little piggy, you know.
Stop talking and gnaw.
The guilty one doesn't seem to be in this class, Miss Brooks. Have you looked in the cloakroom?
Believe me, the skis aren't in the cloakroom, sir. I wish they were, but they're not. That is, if you have to go back to your office now...
You'll have another class coming in shortly, Miss Brooks. I'll wait for them. Meanwhile, carry on with this one.
But it's quite a boring lesson today, Mr. Conklin. You see, I was about to tell my class which is the adjunct phrase on the blackboard.
Well, now, don't merely tell them, Miss Brooks. They'll retain it much better if you go to the blackboard and check it out.
Go to the blackboard?
Yes, Miss Brooks. And at once?
At once?
Yes, Miss Brooks. Now, march!
Very well. There, the phrase is checked off.
Well, that's more like it. And I must say, you walk very gracefully in those skis you're wearing. But now that you've checked off the adjunct phrase, Miss Brooks, it seems to me that you ought to discuss all the component parts of the sentence, such as prepositions, adjectives, verbs, Those skis you're wearing!
Skis, sir? What skis?
I am waiting, Miss Brooks. Drag those warped planks out from under that desk of yours and bring them here.
But, Mr. Conklin, ouch! I can't imagine
I am waiting, Miss Brooks.
Very well, sir. Here I am. See, I'm not wearing skis.
No, you're not. But would you mind telling me, nature girl, why you're conducting this class in your bare feet?
Oh, I'm just trying to preserve the floors, Mr. Conklin. I just kicked my shoes off under the desk.
I'll just have a look under that desk.
But there's nothing down there but shoes.
Out of my way, I'll look for myself.
Miss Brooks is right. There's nothing down here but us shoes.
Just as I suspected. Walter Denton, a hacksaw, and the skis.
It's the old eternal triangle. Hand me the skis, Walter.
I'll deal with you both in my office after school. And now, Miss Brooks, hand those skis over to me.
Here you are, Mr. Conklin.
You seem to have broken my glasses, Miss Brooks.
Please, Mr. Conklin. You know I didn't mean it.
You never do. You know, Miss Brooks, for most people, skis are synonymous with healthful, invigorating exercise. But in your position, somehow they become a lethal weapon. I never want to see a pair on or near you again. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. But about your glasses,
And knowing I might make contact with you today, I brought my extra pair along. If you'll just step back a pace or two, I'll slip them on. Ah, there. Now, if you'll be good enough to reach back and hand me the other ski.
The other one? Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, here you are. Oh, what have I done? Oh, I'm terribly upset, Mr. Conklin.
You must be. You only broke a window this time.
Not very good aim for you. I still have my glasses.
Yes, sir. And I still have the ski you asked for. Here it is, Mr. Conklin.
Good shot, girl.
The summit of the old ski hill is just up ahead, Miss Brooks. I wish we could have started earlier. It's getting pretty nippy out.
The delay was unavoidable, Mr. Boynton. Right after school, Mr. Conklin summoned Walter Denton and me to a meeting in his office. You know how strict he is about parliamentary procedure.
Well, yes, I do.
We had the floor for over an hour.
You and Walter?
Yes, he waxed and I polished. But that's all behind us now.
Yes, let's forget about school and discipline. Well, this is the summit. We'll take off from here.
You'll take off from here. I'm just a spectator. I don't even have any skis.
Oh, I know, but we'll share mine. Ladies first, Miss Brooks. Here, I'll slip them on for you.
Oh, no, please. I wouldn't think of it.
Oh, nonsense. Give me your right foot first, Miss Brooks.
No, Mr. Boynton.
Now, just lean down, lay your head close to mine, and put your arms around my shoulders.
Well, if you're going to bribe me.
There's one. And there's the other. All set to take off, Miss Brooks.
Wait. It looks much different from the top than it did from below.
Yee-hi, Mr. Boynton!
Oh, it's Mr. Conklin.
Oh, no. I've got to work fast.
Ski-hi, Mr. Conklin. Why are you covering your skis with snow, Miss Brooks?
I'll explain later, Mr. Boynton. They're pretty well hidden now.
Hello, Boynton. What a delightful winter's day.
Hello, Mr. Conklin.
Turned pretty raw, didn't it? Well, Miss Brooks, how have you been behaving yourself since I saw you last 2 pair of glasses ago?
Just fine, Mr. Conklin.
Oh, I notice you don't have your skis on, Mr. Conklin. Aren't you going to take advantage of the snow today?
Me get on a pair of skis with my blood pressure? No, thank you. I just came up to look at the scenery and get a breath of fresh air before plunging into the fetid atmosphere of that dance in the gym.
You make it sound like fun.
Oh, the view's lovely from here, all right. But you'll have to step a bit closer to the edge of the hill, Mr. Conklin, if you really want to get a bird's eye view.
That, Mr. Boynton, is for the birds. I'll just stand here behind Miss Brooks and take a peek over her shoulder. Gad, it looks like a terrifying descent.
Oh, there's nothing to it, sir. Now, watch how Miss Brooks sails down. I'll just give you a flying start, Miss Brooks.
Mr. Boynton, wait, please.
Here you go.
Oh, no! Where did that wind come from?
You're doing fine, Miss Brooks. Just watch out for those rocks.
Rocks? Where are the brakes on these things?
You're clear now. Steady, Miss Brooks. Slow down a bit. Slow down. You're going too fast.
I can't slow down.
Bear left, Miss Brooks, past that gully. Look out, you're headed right for that big tree. Look out for that tree!
It's the only way I can stop. Oh, if I can just grab one of the branches. Here goes. Ooh. Oh. Well, that did it, thank heaven. What an experience.
Mind if I get off now? None other.
Please, sir, I didn't know I had a hitchhiker. That is, the wind was blowing.
Oh, stop mumbling, woman. And explain, if you can, this dastardly act of violence.
It wasn't intentional, sir. I had no way of knowing you were in the caboose. That is, well, sir, if you want the truth, I did know there was something in back of me.
You did?
Certainly. But the way I was stooped over, I thought it was me.
Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks returns in just a moment. But first...
You get smoother, more comfortable shaves by shaving the Palmolive brushless way. Get smoother, more comfortable shaves, the Palmolive brushless
that's a fact, men. You can get smoother, yes, more comfortable shaves the Palmolive Brushless Shaving Cream way. Just rub velvet smooth Palmolive Brushless into your beard. You'll find it wilts the toughest whiskers, actually protects your skin by providing a soft film that floats your razor's cutting edge. Remember, over 1,200 men tested the Palmolive Brushless Shaving Cream way, following directions on the package. And no matter how they shaved before, 3 out of 4 reported beards easier to cut, less razor pull, smoother, more comfortable, yes, more comfortable shaves. So men, try the Palmolive Brushless way yourself. Even in cold or hard water, you get a close, clean shave. And a smoother, more comfortable, yes, a more comfortable shave.
You get smoother, more comfortable shaves the Palmolive Brushless way.
Next time you shave, try the Palmolive Brushless Shaving Cream way.
And now, once again, here is our Miss Brooks.
Well, Mr. Conklin soon followed his gradually descending blood pressure down the side of the hill. And shortly afterwards, Mr. Boynton and I approached the gym.
You did very well on those skis I loaned you, Miss Brooks.
I'm still alive, if that's what you mean. But I was rather surprised that they didn't slip off when I hit the tree.
Well, you've got to give Walter credit. That invention of his really does the job.
What? You mean he put the dent and claw on your skis, too?
Well, certainly. Well, I see the band's getting ready to play a number. May I have this dance, Miss Brooks?
I wouldn't be without it.
This is Bert Smith reminding you to tune in next week to another Our Miss Brooks show, brought to you by Palmolive Shave Creams for a smoother, more comfortable way to shave, and Colgate Dental Creams to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, is produced by Larry Burns, written by Al Lewis and Joe Quillen, with the music of Wilbur Hatch. Mr. Boynton is played by Jeff Chandler, Mr. Conklin by Gail Gordon. Others in tonight's cast were Jane Morgan, Dick Crenna, and Gloria McMillan.
Listen to this. With Marvelous Vel, V-E-L, you can save 90% of dishwashing work.
A quick soak in Vel Suds gets dishes and glassware shiny clean. Even if a bit of food should cling, a touch with a dishcloth gets rid of it fast.
Yes, Vel's activated suds lift off and carry away food and grease. So all dishes need is a quick rinse, and they dry sparkling without washing or wiping.
All pots and pans need is a soaking with Vel Suds. Then you can wash them shiny clean without hard scouring.
What's more, Vel is a miracle of mildness. So get new Vel. Save 90% of dishwashing work.
King's Row comes to radio tomorrow. If you loved King's Row as a novel, cheered it as a motion picture, you'll thrill to King's Row as an exciting Colgate radio drama. King's Row can be heard on most of these Columbia Network radio stations tomorrow and every Monday through Friday at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be with us again next week at this same time for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks. Bob Lamont speaking. Stay tuned now for Jack Benny. CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay, and Palmolive Shave Creams for a smoother, more comfortable way to shave, bring you Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden.
It's time once again for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks, under the direction of Al Lewis. Well, when you're living and working away from home, a good friend and confidant comes in mighty handy. Our Miss Brooks, who teaches English at Madison High School, is fortunate in having just such a friend in her landlady. Last Friday at breakfast, Miss Brooks confided in Mrs. Davis about her Thursday date.
I was out with Mr. Boynton last night, Mrs. Davis.
Oh, you don't have to tell me that, Connie. I could tell when I went in to wake you up this morning.
How?
You were squeezing your pillow so hard, half the feathers popped out.
Oh. No wonder I dreamt that I was captured by Indians. We had quite an exciting time, though, before Mr. Boynton took me home.
What did you do?
Well, he said he'd like to go to a movie, so I very subtly steered him to the Strand, where they're showing Valentino.
Oh, is that the one about Rudolph Valentino, the great lover?
It isn't about Jake LaMotta. It's really a very good movie, and I was hoping Mr. Boynton would take a slight hint and get into the mood.
Did the scheme work, Connie?
Did it work? Why, halfway through the most torrid love scene, 2 ushers had to ask Mr. Boynton to leave.
Oh, really, Connie? What did he do?
He giggled so hard he dropped his popcorn.
Well, don't worry, Connie. You may find romance sooner than you think. That is, if you take advantage of the article I read in this morning's paper.
What article?
It says that Mr. Jacques Bouvet of the French public school system is here in America to import teachers to France. He arrived at Madison yesterday, and he's interested in any American instructors who can help streamline French educational methods.
Well, good for him. But why an American teacher should go traipsing off to France to teach is beyond me.
But Mr. Bouvet says that as an incentive, the salary would be just double your present one.
Well, don't stand there. Pack my bag. Double my salary? And I presume they'd pay all traveling expenses.
Definitely.
Well, then all I have to do is to sell myself to Monsieur Bouvet. Where is he staying while he's in town, Mrs. Davis?
At the Empire Hotel.
Does the article say how long a teacher would be expected to stay in France?
At least 1 year, Connie.
Oh, then I'd better forget about it. It isn't just Mr. Boynton I'd miss. I'd be lonesome for you, Mrs. Davis, and Harriet and Walter Denton and all the swell kids at school.
I know, Connie. Then there's your principal, Mr. Conklin.
Well, don't stand there. Pack my bag.
Look, Connie, even though we'd all miss you, too, I'd like to remind you of the old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. If you do go away for a year, think of what your reunion will be like.
Yes, I can picture it now. I trip lightly down the gangplank, and there on the dock stands Mr. Boynton. As our eyes meet, the scene is charged with romance. And when he speaks, it takes a long moment before his passionate words penetrate my consciousness.
What passionate words, Connie?
Long time no see, Miss Brooks. What have you done to your car, Walter? It looks different this morning. Prettier.
That's because you're in it, lovely one. I purposely picked you up early this morning so you could take advantage of the bulletin I have for you.
Bulletin?
Yes, ma'am. I read an article in the paper that says a high official in the French public school system is in town, looking for teachers. A Mr. Jacques Bouvet.
That's Jacques Bouvet, Walter.
How do you know him, Miss Brooks?
Mrs. Davis introduced me to the article this morning.
Oh, aren't you excited? He's offering teachers an all-expense trip to Gay Paris. That's short for France.
I know he is. That's why I've got to get to Mr. Conklin's office.
Why Mr. Conklin's office?
So I can get permission to take a little time off this morning. I'd like to see Mr. Bouvet before he's mobbed by the other teachers.
But, Miss Brooks, you know how old Marblehead Mr. Conklin is when it comes to giving people time off.
Well, I'll just have to think of some legitimate-sounding alibi, I guess. Now, let's see. What sounds like a truthful tissue of lies?
You should never have brought this paper to my office, Harriet. The article about that Frenchman Bouvet raiding our schools for teachers has upset me terribly.
But why, Daddy?
Because I know school teachers, that's why. His offer of traveling expenses and more money will have them flocking to his wallet like moths to a flame. They'll follow him to France like those dim-witted children who followed the Pied Piper of Hamelin.
But, Daddy, Monsieur Bouvet is not only looking for teachers. It says in the last paragraph that he's also offering high school principals double salary and all traveling expenses.
Ah, Paris in the spring. The Champs-Élysées, virgining blossoms in the Bois de Boulogne, Hand me that paper, please.
Here you are.
It says Monsieur Jacques Bouvet, who is staying at the Empire Hotel, and it's been... Further details in a later edition. Run down to the newsstand and fetch me the latest one, Harriet.
But, Daddy, you wouldn't let anything tempt you into leaving Madison, would you?
Calm yourself, my dear. I have no thought of succumbing to the siren song of filthy lucre. Moreover, I intend to see to it that there is no exodus from my staff. If I catch any member of Madison's faculty making a beeline for the Empire Hotel, I'll see that... Come in. Now, you run along, fetch that paper, Harriet.
All right, Daddy. Hi, Miss Brooks.
Hi, Harriet.
Bye, Miss Brooks.
Bye, Harriet.
And what brings you to my office so early, Miss Brooks?
An emergency, Mr. Conklin. I've got to make a beeline for the Empire Hotel.
Oh, you do. And do you mind telling me why before you buzz off?
Well, I've just got to get over there, sir. You see,
Let me help you. Perhaps someone close to you, some relative of whom you're exceedingly fond, lies ill in the Empire Hotel.
Ill? Why, yes, sir. That's exactly it. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Well, don't worry about that. I'll shove them back in a minute. That is, just which one of your relatives is it?
It's my grandmother, Mr. Conklin. She's terribly ill.
Poor dear soul. Perhaps she'd feel better if you informed her of a rather startling fact. Namely, the Empire Hotel is a recently erected annex of the Empire Athletic Club, and it's strictly for men.
So is Grandma. She's very popular. You see, sir, she works at the Empire Hotel. She's a telephone operator there. And yesterday she had a terrible accident.
An accident?
Yes, sir. It seems one of the other girls didn't show up, and Granny had to stay at the switchboard all during her lunch hour. Well, finally, the manager brought her a plate of spaghetti.
Spaghetti, Miss Brooks?
Well, sir, between her being so hungry and the switchboard being so busy, Granny got all excited and ate up 3 long-distance calls.
What a catastrophe. But, Miss Brooks, I have a suggestion to make. Supposing I accompany you to the Empire Hotel. It'll be a nice surprise for your grandmother.
Oh, but, Mr. Conklin,
I'll just burst into her room and say, Grandma, what a big mustache you have.
What?
And, Grandma, what a big fat bankroll to be offering double salaries to teachers to lure them out of the country. And, Granny, dear, why on earth are you registered here as Jacques Bouvet? Well, Miss Brooks, is the jig up or isn't the jig up?
Charleston.
Brush your teeth with Colgate. Colgate Dental Cream. It cleans your breath.
What a toothpaste.
What it cleans your teeth.
Colgate toothpaste.
Cleans your breath.
What a toothpaste.
What it cleans your teeth.
Colgate Dental Cream cleans your breath while it cleans your teeth. And the Colgate Way stops tooth decay best.
Yes, the Colgate Way is the most thoroughly proved and accepted home method of oral hygiene known today. Over 2 years' research showed brushing teeth right after eating with Colgate Dental Cream helped stop more decay for more people than ever before reported in dentifrice history. The Colgate Way stopped tooth decay best.
No other dentifrice, ammoniated or not, offers such conclusive proof. And you should know that Colgate's, while not mentioned by name, was the only toothpaste used in the research on tooth decay recently reported in Reader's Digest.
So always follow the Colgate Way to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and stop tooth decay best.
Brush your teeth with Colgate. Colgate Dental Cream. It cleans your breath.
What a toothpaste.
What it cleans your teeth.
And the Colgate Way stops tooth decay best.
Well, I didn't dare leave school during the morning session, but at lunchtime I joined Mr. Boynton in the cafeteria and told him all about Monsieur Bouvet. When he heard that I was contemplating a trip abroad, Mr. Boynton was grief-stricken. And with ill-concealed panic, he finally managed to say,
Here in France would do you a world of good.
Yes, I guess it would. But, Mr. Boynton, a year is a long time. I sort of expected you to say you'd miss me.
Oh, that goes without saying. I often think of how much we've meant to each other, and, well, you might not believe this, Miss Brooks, but in the 4 or 5 years we've known each other...
4 years, 7 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days.
Well, yes. Well, in all that time, I've never once, that is, well,
Yes, Mr. Boynton, you never once what?
You're the only girl I've ever taken to the zoo.
You've no idea what a feeling of security that gives me.
It may not seem like a very romantic locale, but many's the time as we stood outside those cages, I got some pretty bold thoughts.
You wished you were inside? Oh, we have had some good times, Mr. Boynton. And if I do go abroad, I'll miss you more than just a little.
That goes both ways. But there's a silver lining in every cloud, you know. Remember, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And when you returned, I'd be the first one to meet you at the boat. Yes, ma'am, I'd be right there on that dock as you trip down the gangplank.
And what would you say, Mr. Boynton?
Say? Well, I don't know offhand, but it wouldn't be anything teary or sentimental. No, I'd probably just take your hand and get off some witty remark or other.
Like what?
Well, like, long time no see.
Oh, that is a wham-doodle of a crack. But perhaps we'd better drop the subject, Mr. Boynton. After all, my going to France is purely conjectural. Monsieur Bouvet may not even pay any attention to the message I left for him.
Message?
Yes, since women are barred from the Empire Hotel, I phoned and left my name and address at the desk. Mr. Bouvet was out, so I just left word that if he wanted a good English teacher for overseas duty, he could interview me at my place this evening.
Well, everything happens for the best, I suppose. Still, this Bouvet has a lot of nerve to expect American teachers to go traipsing off to France to teach.
He's offering all travel expenses and double salary.
I wonder if he'd be interested in a biology teacher. You know, it might be quite a rewarding experience at that, to teach abroad for a while.
Pardon me, Mr. Boynton, but I've got an important message for Miss Brooks.
Well, go right ahead, Walter.
Harriet just took a call for you in the principal's office, Miss Brooks.
Oh, who was it?
Mrs. Davis. She called to say that Monsieur Bouvet phoned, and he said he'd be over at your house at 8 o'clock tonight.
Oh, that's wonderful, Walter.
Wait. In the late edition of the paper, it says that he's only accepting teachers who have a first-hand knowledge of France and its people and who speak the language fluently.
Fluently? But I haven't spoken any French since high school, and I majored in Spanish at college.
I've forgotten most of the French I ever learned also. I guess we're in the same boat, Miss Brooks.
Well, start paddling, Mr. Boynton. We're up the same creek, too. Well, it's almost 8 o'clock, Mrs. Davis. Monsieur Bouvet should be here any minute.
But, Connie, you said yourself you don't know enough about French to read a perfume bottle. How do you expect to land a job teaching over there?
If I get the job, Mrs. Davis, I'll have time to take a refresher course before I commence teaching. Now, don't worry about me. I'll get by this interview somehow.
If it's what you want, Connie, I can only wish you luck. I'll go make some tea now. If you need me for anything, just call.
All right, Mrs. Davis. Uh-oh, that's him. Coming!
Bonsoir. I am Jacques Bouvet.
Oh, yes. I mean, oui. Entrez, monsieur.
Merci, merci. You, I presume, are La Belle Brooks.
I'm not anybody else, la but. Let me take your coat and beanie, a beret. I'll hang them right here, Monsieur Bouvet. Now, if you'll follow me into the living room. Now, shall we sit over here on the sofa?
Bon. Now, tell me, if you will, something about your background. You are acquainted with Paris?
Paris? I always think of it as my second home.
Oh, you've been there.
I've never really left there mentally. Oh, the boulevards, the cafes,
if you are so much of a Parisian at heart, I would wager that most of all you miss the Bois de Boulogne.
I cry when I think of it. That woman made me the best hats I ever owned.
Hats? But the Bois de Boulogne is a city park.
Well, that's what I like about Paris. A park can have the same name as a milliner. Could I get you something, Monsieur Bouvet? Tea will be ready very soon, or would you rather have coffee?
Oh, nothing now, thanks. I just like to get, how you say, acquainted. But why should I struggle so with the English? You have the French, no?
I have a little, yes.
Ah, bon. Dites-moi alors, cette photographie-là, sur la table, c'est votre père?
Oh, oui, oui.
Et l'autre photographie, c'est votre mari?
Oui, oui.
Oh, je suis très content.
Oui, oui.
Pardonnez-moi, the tea is ready.
What? Oh, Mrs. Davis, this is Monsieur Bouvet.
Oh, merci, monsieur. I'll put the tea sur la table. Now, if you'll excuse-moi, I'd like to speak with Miss Brooks privately for one moment. Come here, Connie.
All right, Mrs. Davis. Excusez-moi, too, Monsieur Bouvet.
Certainement.
What is it, Mrs. Davis?
It's evident that I remember more of my high school French than you do. You made a terrible mistake.
What did I do?
When Mr. Bouvet pointed to that picture of Mr. Conklin, he asked you if he was your father, and you said yes.
Oh, no.
Then when he pointed to Mr. Boynton's picture and asked if he was your husband, you said yes again.
Mr. Boynton? My husband? What am I laughing at? What happened to either of us?
You've got to go back and tell Mr. Bouvet the truth.
What, and let him know I don't understand French? I'm sorry, Mrs. Davis, but I've got to bluff this thing through until I land that job.
As you wish, Connie, but I'm going into my room and lie down. This operation is too nerve-wracking for me.
I'll let you know how I come out, Mrs. Davis. Oh, you're looking at my photographs, monsieur.
Oui, madame, but perhaps I should talk the English. It will help me in my interviews with other Americans, n'est-ce pas?
Oh, pa.
Your husband is very charming, but one thing I do not understand. Why you call yourself Miss Brooks when he signs his picture Monsieur Boynton?
Well, here in America, we girls who teach school are allowed to use our maiden names. But I do hope you'll have the opportunity to meet Mr. Boynton. He's a charming person, and so devoted, so thoughtful, and so affectionate. So come in. It's not locked. Entree.
Good evening, Miss Brooks.
Mr. Boynton.
I hope you don't mind my... Oh, you have company.
Monsieur Boynton, allow me to congratulate you. You have a very charming wife.
I have? Where?
Dear me, isn't he a scream? What a sense of humor, darling.
Your husband is funny.
Funniest thing since Murders in the Rue Morgue. Give me your hat, dear. I'll explain later, Mr. Boynton. Just smile.
All right.
You are a man after my own heart, Monsieur Boynton. Devil may care. And your wife has told me how affectionate you are.
Affectionate?
Well, don't just stand there. Kiss me, you fool.
Please, Miss Brooks, please.
Listen to him beg. Well, I'm all puckered, dearest. Let's have it.
Oh, how romantic. But permit me to make the introduction. I am Monsieur Jacques Bouvet.
Monsieur Bouvet, but of course. Je suis très joyeuse. Bonsoir, mon ami.
How do you like that? I pucker and he kisses him.
Monsieur Bouvet, I've always wanted to teach biology in Gay Paris. You alone can make my fondest dream come true.
Well, frankly, I have several biology teachers already contracted. Somehow Paris seems to lend itself to biology.
And vice versa.
But of course, if I accept your wife, it would be a shame to separate you, especially if you are really so madly in love with her.
In love with her? Rather would I lose my life than my wife.
Comment?
Miss Brooks.
Oui?
Pucker up again, mon chéri.
Why, Pierre Boynton. Here I am.
Oh, wait. There will be time for that later.
Marshall Plan or no Marshall Plan? This guy has got to go.
What is it you want to tell us, monsieur?
Well, I have come to the conclusion that married couples are best for my purpose. Single teachers might get lonesome after a short while, and then, poof, back to America they come, leaving me clutching a valise.
Clutching a valise?
Holding the bag. Well, Monsieur Bouvet, you won't have to worry about that with us. We'll stay the full time.
Oh, but of course it is only fair to tell you I have interviewed other couples, some married 10, 11 years, and with big families. The priority will go, of course, to those who are married the longest time.
Oh, we've been married a very long time.
How long?
Real long.
Real long.
The door was open, so I just... Oh, I didn't know you had guests, Miss Brooks.
Oh, that's all right, Walter.
Yes, come on in, Walter.
Monsieur Bouvet, I'd like to present our youngest son, Walter. Isn't he a doll? Now go out into the kitchen and feed your fat little face.
But, Miss Brooks...
You heard your mother, son. We're discussing business with Monsieur Bouvet.
Oh, you're Monsieur Bouvet.
Oui, oui.
Oh, bonsoir, monsieur. Comment allez-vous, say swore.
Translation. Goodbye, Mr. Bouvet. I've got to feed my fat little face.
You are quite a family.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Come in.
I just stopped by to... Oh, you have company, Miss Brooks.
The more the merrier. Do come in.
I recognize you from your photograph, monsieur. You are Papa.
Papa?
And you have a lovely daughter, monsieur. Such a sweet face. Just gaze upon her.
Gaze upon her? My daughter's at home.
But of course she's at home. I have been talking with her for the last 10 minutes.
Sir, either you have an extremely loud voice, or you're as wacky as a dodo bird.
Qu'est-ce que c'est dodo bird?
Oh, it's just a colloquialism, sir. Dad here is a great little kidder.
Yes, he certainly is. Want some tea, Daddy dear?
Daddy, dear?
I'll get it for you if you want me to, Grandpa.
What's going on here?
I was just going to escort Monsieur Bouvet to the door.
Monsieur Bouvet? Oh, I should have known. Bonsoir, mon ami. Je suis très joyeuse.
Well, there's no use talking. I've got to get myself a tuxedo.
Monsieur Bouvet, I'll come right to the point. At first, I refused to be tempted, but as one of the nation's more efficient high school principals, I feel I owe it to your country to volunteer my services until your educational system is once again flourishing.
That is a most kind, monsieur.
Of course, I'll be frank with you, sir. I'm also interested in the fact that you're offering double salary.
Oh, that? Oh, I'm afraid, monsieur, the American press has made a slight, misquoting.
What did they misquoting?
Well, you see, we are offering double your present salary, but it is not in dollars. It is in francs.
In francs? But that's much less than we're receiving now.
Oh, Wilbur, think of the experience. Now, if you will all want to sign up, I will get the papers.
Just a moment, Monsieur Bouvet. I'd like to hold a little caucus with Papa and Pierre and Sonny. Gather around, friends.
What'll we tell him, Miss Brooks?
Well, I think we ought to say something like this.
Yes, that sounds just right to me.
And between us, we ought to know enough French to give him the whole thing in his native tongue. Let's see. The first word is fichier.
And the next is le.
Then comes camp.
Fine. Monsieur Bouvet.
Oui?
Fichez le camp.
Comment?
Translation.
Hit the road!
Eve Arden as our Miss Brooks returns in just a moment. Now, the case of the close scrape featuring Charles Nielsen, department store buyer. Here's what Mr. Nielsen told us. Listen.
Here's exactly what happened. Shaving was just one close scrape after another for me, and then I discovered Palmolive Lather Shave Cream and a new, different way to shave. Palmolive's oceans of rich, thick lather ended my worries about scrapes, burns, and nicks. Why, even in cold or hard water, that Palmolive Lather way is super smooth, super comfortable.
Take Charles Nielsen's advice, men. The new Palmolive Lather way gets beards really soft, and it provides a protective film that actually floats your razor's cutting edge. You get a clean, close shave every time without worry about scraping or nicking, even in cold or hard water. Charles Nielsen and 1,200 other men tested Palmolive Lather Cream following package directions, and 3 out of 4 reported smoother, more comfortable shaves the Palmolive Shave Cream way, no matter how they shaved before.
Better get Palmolive Lather Shave Cream. Remember, even in cold or hard water, the Palmolive Lather way means smoother, more comfortable shaves. Now, once again, here is our Miss Brooks.
Well, after Monsieur Bouvet left, Mr. Conklin and Walter said good night, and that left just Mr. Boynton and me.
Well, I guess we won't be going to Paris this year, but maybe we'll get another chance. You know, Miss Brooks, I've often dreamt of being in Gay Paris with you.
You have, Mr. Boynton?
Oh, yes, indeed. And if we were there, I'd take you to the most romantic spot on the continent, La Maison des Animaux.
What is that, Mr. Boynton?
That's one of the biggest zoos in the world.
Mr. Boynton, take a letter. Dear Lafayette, not only are we not there, but we ain't coming.
This is Vern Smith reminding you to tune in next week to another Our Miss Brooks show, brought to you by Palmolive Shave Cream for a smoother, more comfortable way to shave, and Colgate Dental Cream to clean your breath while you clean your teeth and help stop tooth decay.
Our Miss Brooks, starring Eve Arden, is produced by Larry Burns, written by Al Lewis and Joe Quillen, with the music of Wilbur Hatch.
Listen to this. With Marvelous Vel, V-E-L, you can save 90% of dishwashing work.
A quick soak in Vel Suds gets dishes and glassware shiny clean. Even if a bit of food should cling, a touch with a dishcloth gets rid of it fast.
Yes, Vel's activated suds lift off and carry away food and grease. So all dishes need is a quick rinse, and they dry sparkling without washing or wiping.
All pots and pans need is a soaking with Vel Suds. Then you can wash them shiny clean without hard scouring.
What's more, Vel is a miracle of mildness. So get new Vel. Save 90% of dishwashing work.
If you like mysteries that are as full of chuckles as chills, be sure to listen to Mr. and Mrs. North every Tuesday evening over most of these same stations. And be with us again next week at this same time for another comedy episode of Our Miss Brooks. Bob Lamont speaking. Stay tuned now for Jack Benny. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.